Donald Trump is far and away the most corrupt president in all of American history. He's a criminal. He's a convicted felon. He's an insurrectionist who tried to overthrow the republic so that he could stay in office illegally. More than any other president who has ever held that office, Donald Trump deserves to be impeached and removed from office and then prosecuted for his many, many crimes. And now we have the first articles of impeachment being filed against this piece of shit criminal. Let me read just a little bit. Here's a headline from The Hill. Michigan Democrat files articles of impeachment against Trump. Quote, I have introduced articles of impeachment against President Trump. When Trump ignores the Constitution, Congress, and the courts, he is not fighting for America. He is tearing it down and endangering our democracy. This from Congressman Sri Thanadar. Now, I don't expect these articles of impeachment to go anywhere.
What I'm saying is that Orange Humpty Dumpty is going to pass away in June after a second stroke that he's going to have this month. He's already had one in September of last year. Vance Refrigeration is going to take over for a short time. One by one, the cabinet is going to be removed or resign, leading up to, I was given that by October, we were going to see the removal of the administration and that there was going to be justice, that there's going to be responsibility taken for the illegal activities between DOJ and the humanitarian crisis with immigrants and deported U.S. citizens. Not to mention that one of the last nails in the coffin is the full case that's being developed now as we speak of the fraud that led to this administration being in place in the first place. The new administration is going to be implemented, is the word I'm looking for, in January of 2026. And then that is when healing can start happening. That's what I'm saying. Oh, and Orange Humpty Dumpty is going to be out before his birthday, not after, and not the day of. I don't know where people are getting that, because that is not what I get through subconscious exploration or mediumship. It's going to be before. So no, we're not paying for the parade.
So you're telling me that just 2 days after the leaked interview that was put out all over social media of Biden fumbling his way through an interview that was kept secret, and also coincidentally, a couple of days after the Sean Ryan Ton Holman interview that came out on Thursday that has reached hundreds of millions of people already, about how Biden he reversed Trump's executive order allowing illegal immigrants to be counted in the U.S. Census so that in swing states that he could increase the number of representations to pack Congress with Democrat representation. He did all that. And to do that, he opened the border, and 2.2 million people went above and beyond what normal illegal immigrants do and paid extra so that there would be no DNA or fingerprint. Now, what kind of person does that? That's not somebody seeking asylum, number one. 500,000 kids are missing. Countless numbers of rapes of girls from 22 months old to 16-year-olds. Hundreds of people have lost their lives at the southern border. All that comes out. And now all of a sudden we're going to throw the cancer card? Not only that, we're going to say it's progressive prostate cancer, and that all the clean bill of health that his physician's been giving him. And you expect me to believe this? Our country has done some shady stuff in the history of the United States. But what happened in 2020, what was kept quiet throughout Biden's administration, and what he did, he was just a puppet on a string for the demonic people that control the Democratic Party for the sake of packing representation. What they did at the southern border is insane. Insane. If you haven't listened to the Tom Holman, Sean Ryan podcast, you need to listen to it. The things that they did and allowed to have happen to babies and kids is gross, and it is grounds for anybody that calls themselves a Christian to never vote Democratic again. Go listen to it. comment on this post if you think that this cancer diagnosis is also on the heels of the AutoPen investigation. Now all of a sudden we're going to throw the cancer card. Oh, don't prosecute me. Don't mess with me. I'm sick. I'm terminally ill. Progressive late-stage prostate cancer, undetected. Yeah, I'm not buying it.
Folks, the time has come to take our country back from Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans. My name is Doug Hune, and I'm a Democrat fighter in California's 3rd District. I am working really hard to unseat MAGA Republican Kevin Kiley in my rural red 3rd District. Please help me by donating to my congressional campaign. Link is down below and also my profile. We just need 5 House seats to flip the House from red to blue. Thank you so much for your support.
We're cutting the chains. You guys are cowards. You are an embarrassment. An utter embarrassment. You made one of the very few individuals in the last 4 months or so who has talked about impeaching the current president. What did you do? You got this representative from Michigan to back down. Because in your eyes, what was it you called it? Oh, it would be a distraction. You warned this representative that his effort would serve as a distraction. And now what's this representative, Mr. Thanator, saying? He says he still believes that Trump has committed impeachable offenses. Well, I fucking hope so. Including planning to accept a $400 million luxury jet from Qatar. Because the one that he has now is for peasants. That's right. The top public servant in this country who we employ complaining about a jet that is better than any fucking jet that any person in this fucking country has. Nobody has a jet like that fucker. Oh, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. You're a public servant. I'm really starting to feel like those in the Democrat Party who are the Democrat leaders, they're the leaders. They look at us as a distraction. That's what I believe now. Because why in the hell would you tell a member of your own party to just simmer down a bit? You're a distraction. Which that tells us that we, as a consensus, want this to happen. We've been calling for this for 3 or 4 fucking months. I went to a town hall in February where they were talking about impeachment. We've been fucking waiting. So that makes me feel like you're telling us, you guys are a distraction too. Why do you care about what they think of us? Why do you care more about what they'll think of what you're doing than we do? We voted you in. We're fucking waiting, and we're tired of waiting. We are tired of waiting for you to grow some balls. That's what we're tired of. Okay? That's what we want. You're telling a member of your own party not to do it. A distraction? Everything that man does every single day is a distraction. And you're worried that that party's going to think that what you're doing is a distraction? Why do you care? Why do you care? They're dismantling this country, and you fucking care what they think about your articles of impeachment? You guys are utter cowards. You are cowards. I can vouch for this. If people like me, if people like just normal fucking citizens in this country were sitting in your positions, we would have brought articles of impeachment 3 goddamn months ago. Guaranteed. But you'll have to excuse us. We probably wouldn't ever have that position because we wouldn't be taking bribes from big lobbyists. We wouldn't be taking money from places like AIPAC. We wouldn't be taking money from big banks and big oil to do fucking favors for them, because we're for the people. We are the people. And that's why we don't get to hold positions like that. That's why. Because we don't have any money. We don't have any reach. And you don't have to fucking listen to us because you know that. You have all the money. You have all the connections, all the resources, and what do you do with it? You dig your heel in and smash us into the mud. Cowards. You are all cowards.
All right, Trumpers, come and get me. Hey, listen, check it out. Donald Trump's impeachment is continuing to move forward in Congress. This could be the best thing that's happened to us in a long time as Democrats, is for him to get impeached again. It is coming. All the Democrats are going to vote for him to get impeached. There's a lot of Republicans that are going to. You can go check this out for yourself on MSNBC, Fox, your beloved Fox for MAGAs. Look, MAGAs, you've lost your talking points. You just have. Every time this man gets in office, this happens. He gets impeached. You guys thought you were voting for somebody that's going to help you? No, you've put somebody in there that has hurt the Republican Party, and this is what's going to continue to happen every fucking time you put anybody in there with the last name Trump. You ain't even had Republicans get impeached like you have Donald Trump. So it goes to show you thought that you were putting some good, holy God, Christian man in there, and they're already trying to impeach him. So I hope this continues to go through. I support it. I know all my Democratic friends support it. And listen, we need to get him impeached, get him the hell out of there, and get somebody in there that knows what they're doing, so maybe we can save this economy. And MAGAs, thanks for screwing us.
So the Supreme Court has ruled in an 8-1 decision with all the justices agreeing except for Jackson to end temporary protection status for Venezuelans. This will affect 350,000 Venezuelan migrants who were given temporary protection status. Temporary protection status is when you live in a country that has armed conflict, extraordinary circumstances, natural disasters, human rights abuses. Basically, what's happening in South Africa? Yeah, that's why those people are allowed to come. And they're white. So the Supreme Court has ruled that Donald Trump can move forward to remove their status. And once their status is removed, he can immediately deport them back to Venezuela or wherever he decides to send them. And my sense tells me he will do just that, or they wouldn't have been fighting this case in the courts to begin with, correct? Correct. So now we're going to remove people that we literally told could come. Yeah. For some reason, I thought this was about criminals. For some reason, I don't remember why. Maybe it's because we were told, yeah, we got to get rid of the criminals. So, we told them they could come. That's why there's so many of them here, because they were given permission to come, and now we're going to pull that out from underneath them and ship them back to somewhere. Who knows where they'll end up? Some prison somewhere? Who knows? And the real question is, how many of these people are small children that were brought here by their parents to try to basically save their lives? How many of these people are small children brought here by their parents because this is supposed to be the greatest country on earth, and so their parents brought them here for protection and safety to protect their children, and now they're going to get sent back because our priorities in our government aren't to protect children. I would guess if you're a Venezuelan here with that status, maybe tell them you're pregnant. Maybe tell them you're pregnant. If you tell them you're pregnant, they'll want to protect that child. Yeah, they will. But then don't ever tell them you had the child. Don't tell them you had the child. That would be dangerous for you and your child. But again, it is an 8-1 ruling. So overwhelmingly, the Supreme Court ruled. That means the liberal justices and the conservative justices together ruled that Donald Trump could in fact do this. Yeah. Thanks.
So a news article popped up in one of my notifications. And when I read this article, friends, I cannot tell you the anger that welled up inside of me. So Sri Thanadar is a representative, and I forget exactly where he's from, but he filed articles of impeachment against the orange shit stain. And this article says House Democrats are furious at congressman who launches, quote, waste of time impeachment proceedings against Trump. And I'm going to go on a bit of a rant, so I want you to stick around, but this rant is going to be educational. Right now, we have establishment Democrats literally doing nothing. We've got people on this app who are like, I'm a lifelong Democrat and I support them no matter what. And that's fine for you. But when we say that there are tools in the tool bag, things they can do, this is one of them. We are not dumb, and we know that filing articles of impeachment against this man is not going to get him impeached. We know that. But do you know what it does do? It notifies the American people who perhaps have turned off the news because everything is just too much and they don't know what's going on. There are people who don't know that their democracy is fucking attacked. And I mean, literally, do we have a democracy anymore? I can't say yes or no. I'm not even sure. But there are people who don't know where we stand with this current government. And when you file articles of impeachment, it's such a big deal that news outlets talk about it. It might be something that is mentioned in between, radio, the songs on the radio, and people get notified. And more people get pissed and they get in the streets and they join us in our resistance. And that's what we're talking about. Forcing the Republicans to vote no on feeding children. Forcing the Republicans to vote no on saving Social Security and saving Section 8 housing for disabled veterans. Forcing the Republicans into the spotlight for the shitty human beings they are. That's what Sri Thanadar is doing. So for you to call it a waste of fucking time, simply, and by the way, they were nameless. They didn't want to say who the fuck they were. Rightfully, because I'd be on your fucking ass. I'd be calling you day in and day out. So for you to say it's a waste of time tells me and every other American where we stand with you. Everything that gets done in Congress by the Democrats does not have to land in a win for it to be something pivotal and important. So for any Democrat out there who's wagging their finger and calling out shame for anyone doing something like what Sri Thanadar is doing, shame the fuck on you. Shame on you for sitting back, sucking off of the American taxpayer and doing nothing while democracy is attacked. Shame on you.
Trump goes and tells Time magazine that he has been negotiating with over 200 countries. Problem is, there are only 195. Who are the other 5 countries? Trump continent must have popped out somewhere with a bunch of Trump nations inside of it. Otherwise, what's going on, man? Like, the guy is winging it, man. This Trump is a classical fake it till you make it, wing it. Okay, he is a classic, mate. Oh my God. What's he gonna do next?
So Heather Cox Richardson's letter today was amazing because it was about money and how stuff works with the federal government and whatnot. There's a lot of things that the Republicans are lying about to their base, and then those assumptions are getting folded into things and spread as though it's gospel. So anyway, this is about the big beautiful bill. So extending the 2017 tax cuts for the wealthy and corporations, the CBO estimates that those extensions would cost at least $4.6 trillion over the next 10 years. And while the tax cuts would go into effect immediately, the cuts to Medicaid are currently scheduled not to hit until 2029, enabling the Republicans to avoid voter fury over them in the midterms and in the 2028 elections. So they put that in there as a big, beautiful bomb to hit, so they can blame it on somebody else later. They do this a lot, actually. That prospect of that debt explosion led Moody's on Friday to downgrade the U.S. credit for the first time since 1917, following Fitch, which downgraded in 2023, and Standard & Poor's, who did so in 2011. If the 2017 Tax Cut and Jobs Act is extended, this is a quote from them as their reasoning, which is our base case, it will add around $4 trillion to the federal fiscal primary, excluding interest payments deficit over the next decade. As a result, we expect federal deficits to widen to reach nearly 9% of GDP by 2035, up from 6.4% in 2025, driven mainly by increased interest payments on the debt, rising entitlement spending, and relatively low revenue generation. Relatively low revenue generation. So, yeah, your tariff thing is not going to fix it, dude. You're going to kneecap the economy, and you're not going to have revenue generation. The continuing Republican insistence that the spending is out of control does not reflect reality, okay? This is important to understand because if you listen to their talking points and their worldview, they fold this assumption into everything that they say. Out of control spending, they say. Big government, expansive, too big of government, they say. When in reality, the spending has been going down over the years. And at the time when we had a more expensive, healthier economy and middle class, we had more spending as a percent of GDP. And also, we had more federal workers as a percentage of the population. So we were doing more of the thing that they've been railing against for 40 years, and it's been their pressure on the political consensus that has actually been tightening like a vice grip on us, causing austerity for 40 years. And they still keep using the same talking points because it's not practical, it's ideological. So the continuing Republican insistence that spending is out of control does not reflect reality. In fact, discretionary spending has fallen more than 40% in the past 50 years as a percentage of gross domestic product, from 11% to 6.3%. What has driven rising deficits are George Bush and Donald Trump tax cuts, which have added $8 trillion and $1.7 trillion respectively to the debt by the end of 2023 fiscal year. But rather than permit those tax cuts to expire or even roll them back, the Republicans continue to insist Americans are overtaxed. In fact, the U.S. is far below the average of the 37 other nations in the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, an intergovernmental forum of democracies with market economies, and its tax levies. According to a report by the Center for American Progress in 2023, if the U.S. taxed at the average OECD level, over 10 years it would have an additional $26 trillion in revenue. If it was taxed similar to the European Union, we would have an additional $36 trillion. We are not spending too much as a percentage of our GDP, and we are not overtaxed. There's room there. Let there be any confusion about who will benefit from the big, beautiful bill. One of the many pieces tucked into it is a prohibition on the state laws to regulate artificial intelligence for the next 10 years. They want artificial intelligence to run amok, and God knows what kind of damage that's going to do. We already know it's an asshole because we have to deal with it here and on Facebook. And I had a freaking artificial intelligence voice bot thing do a freaking robocall to me the other day. Like, it is getting creepy out here. We do not want the AIs controlling everything, okay? They're only as good as their master. They're only as good as what they get fed to train them. And so far, they're just assholes, okay? We don't want the AI to take over everything. We want people. When we call in somewhere for customer service, we want people. We don't want AIs. They suck. We hate them, okay? So far, we've only had to interact with it a little bit, and they suck. They're dicks. Okay, so we want regulation on the AIs. We don't want a million copies of Elon Musk's brain running around controlling everything. We don't fucking want it. Okay, like, we want it regulated. Who wants that?
I'm going to need y'all to pray for me because I'm trying my best to have a heart for another Trump supporter who now regrets their vote. please meet Sister Sharita White, who was going through some things while Joe Biden was in office and in an act of desperation decided to vote for Donald Trump and now regrets her vote. You see, in September of 2024, Sharita White made a desperate choice after supporting Democrats in previous presidential elections. At 37 years old, she decided that she was going to cast her ballot for, you guessed it, Donald Trump. During the Biden years, her life had taken a frustrating turn. Her husband had died, she lost her job, and she was forced to move with her kids to a Philly neighborhood notorious for crime and, you know what, addiction. With a son with a chronic ailment, her tight food budget had been padded by pandemic stimulus checks. With this gone and high inflation pushing up the cost of living, life felt drastically different. I can only imagine how life was really feeling for her at this moment. I really can. Now, according to her, when Trump was in the chair, black people was up. And I want Trump back in the chair because I've been struggling ever since he's been out of the chair. Really? When November came, she joined millions of other black, Latino, and young voters who broke with Democrats and cast their votes for Trump. What? Voters like Sharita White, disengaged, historically Democratic, and frustrated with the status quo, powered a historic red shift in Democratic strongholds across the country, helping Trump sweep electoral college battlegrounds and win the popular vote. You know, they say the grass is always greener on the other side until you get there. Now, 8 months later, White says she's actually feeling a lot worse. Quote, I just see things keep rising and stuff, and things do not look like they're getting better and stuff. Because at this point, it's like nothing is getting better, and the economy is getting worse. Lord, please help me. I'm really trying my best to have a heart. I am, but this is just getting a little too much for me. I cannot bear. And what's this? She regrets her vote for Trump? And she's not alone? You mean this story gets worse? Across a range of polling averages and survey data, a similar picture is developing. Black, Latino, and young voters are turning sharply against him, reversing the gains he made throughout 2024 with traditionally Democratic voting groups. Now, why would such a change be occurring? Perhaps Jose can tell us why? Jose told us that Trump's economic pitch was more promising than Biden's years of Democratic governance. He flagged his frustrations with Biden's immigration policy, saying that Democrats, quote, forgot that here they had people who needed work here too, and instead let immigrants into the country and let them take jobs from Americans. Now, come on, Jose. You should have known that made absolutely no sense. He had believed Trump would better wrangle inflation while also enforcing immigration laws and deporting violent criminals. Jose said he's instead getting an administration that's forcing price hikes through trade wars while rounding up non-violent, hard-working immigrants. So, Jose, you too, you fell for it? You believe Donald Trump was actually a good person and telling the truth? According to Jose, we voted for Trump and Trump betrayed us, he said. The truth is, people voted for one thing, the economy, a good economy, and these tariffs are hiking everything up. And he's kicking out hard workers and not touching the people who don't work. He's leaving them. How does that make sense? Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, we have some Trump supporters out here who they're now starting to regret their vote. So if you don't mind, please pray for me because I'm trying my best to have a heart for them. But I can't help but say you knew what you were getting when you signed up for this, right? And a hard head makes for a soft you know what. And I'm having a very difficult time trying to wrap my mind around how you would ignore all the warning signs and still go and support this person who made it crystal clear he doesn't give a darn about you. He has nothing in common with you. Yeah. And so people say, you know, should something happen, well, you know, there has to be consequences for making bad decisions. At least that's how I was raised.
All right, guys, thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments below what do you think about this whole situation. We are in this together, so we need to do something. We need to do something in order for this to stop. Please say something, do something. Otherwise, this is gonna get worse and worse and worse. So if you like content like this, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, support my channel. Let's grow together, and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye, and thank you.